Hello friends and welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to study a topic called gastrectomy from general surgery. So, we will be learning about what is gastrectomy, what is the purpose of gastrectomy, the types, side effects, complications, procedure, risks and the post-operative care for gastrectomy. Now, what is gastrectomy? Gastrectomy is the surgical removal of all or a part of the stomach. What is the purpose? Gastrectomy is performed for several reasons. Most commonly to remove a malignant tumor or to cure a perforated or bleeding stomach ulcer. Now, a malignant tumor is the one that spreads. A non-malignant, that is benign tumor, is the one that does not spread. So, this gastrectomy, that is removal of all or a part of a stomach, is basically carried out to remove a malignant tumor or to cure a perforated or bleeding ulcers. You might have heard of gastric ulcers or stomach ulcers that may get worsened with time. So, they are carried out for worsening, bleeding or perforated stomach ulcers. Now, what are the types of gastrectomies? Basically, there are three types. First is partial gastrectomy, complete gastrectomy and sleeve gastrectomy. So, from the name itself, we can understand what is the procedure that would be done in that. So, let us look at partial gastrectomy. There is removal of the lower half of the stomach, the nearby lymph nodes and any cancer cells that are present in them. So, basically the lower half of the stomach, the nearby lymph nodes and any cancer cells if it is present are removed in partial gastrectomy. In this surgery, the surgeon will close off the duodenum. Now, what is duodenum? It is the first part of the small intestine, that is after the stomach it is connected to the small intestine. So, the first part of the small intestine is the duodenum. So, the surgeon will close off the duodenum in this partial gastrectomy. The duodenum is the first part of the intestine that receives partially digested food from the stomach. Then the remaining part of the stomach will be connected to the bowel, that is the remaining part of the small intestine. Next is complete gastrectomy. It is also called total gastrectomy. This procedure completely removes the stomach and the surgeon connects the esophagus directly to the small intestine. The esophagus normally connects the throat to the stomach, but here since the complete stomach is removed, the esophagus is directly connected to the small intestine. Next is sleeve gastrectomy. In this, almost 3/4 of the stomach is removed and the surgeon will trim the side of the stomach to turn it into a tube shape. This creates a smaller and a longer stomach. So, usually you know that the stomach is this shape and if the side of the stomach is cut, it will be turned into a tube shape and it creates a smaller and a longer stomach. Now, we have learned about the three types of gastrectomy. So, we learned what is gastrectomy, the purpose and the three types of gastrectomy. Now, we learn about a bit of history about this gastrectomy. The first successful gastrectomy was performed by Theodore Billroth in 1881 for cancer of the stomach. Historically, gastrectomies were used to treat peptic ulcers. So, the first successful gastrectomy was conducted by Theodore Billroth in 1881 and historically the treatment of peptic ulcers was gastrectomy. But nowadays, since we all know that peptic ulcers are caused by a bacteria, most commonly these peptic ulcers are caused by a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori, we use the treatment, that is the use of medications to treat it instead of gastrectomies. Now, in the past, a gastrectomy for peptic ulcer disease was most often accompanied by vagotomy. Now, what is vagotomy? It is a surgical operation in which one or more branches of the vagus nerve are cut in order to reduce the production of gastric acid. Now, this problem is now managed with proton pump inhibitors. Now, moving on to the next part. Gastrectomies are performed to treat stomach cancer and perforations in the stomach wall. Now, this is what we studied in the purpose of gastrectomy earlier. It is carried out to treat stomach cancer, the malignant cancers as well as perforations and stomach ulcers in the stomach wall. Now, in severe duodenal ulcers, not stomach ulcers, duodenal ulcers, that is the first part of the intestine. In severe duodenal ulcers, it may be necessary to remove the lower portion of the stomach called the pylorus and the upper portion of the small intestine called the duodenum, where the ulcers are present. So, what did we learn here? In severe duodenal ulcers, it may be necessary to remove the lower portion of the stomach, that is called the pylorus, along with the first portion of the small intestine, that is the duodenum. Now, after this procedure is done, if there is a sufficient portion of the upper duodenum that is remaining, like we said that we remove the first part of the small intestine, that is the duodenum where the ulcers are present. Now, after doing this procedure, if there is sufficient portion of the upper duodenum remaining, a procedure called Billroth 1 procedure is performed, where the remaining portion of the stomach, that is we cut off the pylorus portion, so the remaining portion of the stomach is reattached to the duodenum before the opening of the bile duct and the duct of pancreas. Now, the Billroth 1 procedure was performed where a sufficient amount of duodenum was remaining for the stomach to be attached. Now, in cases where there is no sufficient amount of duodenum remaining, a Billroth 2 procedure is performed. Now, what is done here? Here, the remaining portion of the duodenum is sealed off and a small hole is cut into the next portion of the small intestine, that is the jejunum. After the duodenum comes jejunum. So, a small hole is cut in the jejunum and the remaining portion of the stomach is attached to this hole. Now, as the pylorus, that is the lower part of the stomach, is used to grind food and slowly release the food into the small intestine, when this part is removed in Billroth 1 and Billroth 2 procedure, when the pylorus is removed, there is faster moving of the contents into the small intestine. So, this will cause a syndrome called the gastric dumping syndrome. Now, let us look at Billroth 1 and Billroth 2 in more detail. Now, Billroth 1 is more formally called Billroth's Operation 1. It is an operation in which the pylorus is removed, the last, that is the lower portion of the stomach is removed, and the distal stomach is attached directly to the duodenum, that is the some of the duodenum was remaining, so they attached it to the duodenum. Now, this operation is more closely associated with Theodore Billroth, but was first described by a Polish surgeon called Ludwig Reitgeier. This surgical procedure, that is Billroth Operation 1, is called gastroduodenostomy. Now, the gastro, which means the stomach, is attached to the duodenum. So, gastroduodenostomy. Now, the Billroth 2, which is formally called Billroth's Operation 2, is an operation in which a partial gastrectomy, that is removal of the stomach, is performed and the cut end of the stomach is closed. The greater curvature of the stomach, which is not involved with the previous closure of the stomach, is then connected to this first part of the jejunum. Now, what is jejunum? The second part of the small intestine that comes after duodenum. So, it is connected to the first part of the jejunum in end to side anastomosis. It is side. The greater curvature is the side. So, end to side anastomosis is performed. Now, this end to side anastomosis has another word which is called Roux-en-Y anastomosis. Now, the Billroth's Operation 2 follows resection, that is removal of the lower part of the stomach, that is called antrum, that is before the pylorus it comes the antrum. The surgical procedure is called gastrojejunostomy. Now, in Billroth 1 it was called gastroduodenostomy. Here it is called gastrojejunostomy because the stomach gastro is connected to the jejunum. So, gastrojejunostomy. Now, the Billroth 2 is often indicated in refractory peptic ulcer disease and gastric adenocarcinoma. It is a type of carcinoma, that is cancer. So, it is indicated in refractory peptic ulcer disease and gastric adenocarcinoma. Now, over the years, Billroth 2 operation has been colloquially referred to as any partial removal of the stomach with an end to side anastomosis. And von Hacker was the first person to refer to the Billroth 2 partial gastrectomy operation. Now, we learned about the definition, the purpose, the types of gastrectomy, the history of gastrectomy, Billroth 1, Billroth 2, the gastric dumping syndrome, and now we are going to look at Polya's operation. Now, Polya's operation is also known as Rachel Polya's operation. This is a type of posterior gastroenterostomy which is a modification of Billroth 2 operation developed by Eugen Polya and Friedrich Paul Rachel. That is why Rachel Polya operation. It involves resection, that is removal of 2/3 of the stomach with a blind closure of the duodenal stump. Now, duodenal stump is the remaining portion of the duodenum that is remaining after the Billroth 2 operation. So, this is a modification that, so this Polya's operation is a modification of Billroth 2. So the duodenal stump is basically the remaining portion of the duodenum that is left after the resection. So it involves resection of 2/3 of the stomach with blind closure of the duodenal stump and a retrocolic gastrojejunal anastomosis. That is, in Billroth 2 we learned that there is gastrojejunal anastomosis, but in here, that is in Polya's operation, there is retrocolic, that is from behind there is a anastomosis between the stomach and the jejunum. So, retrocolic gastrojejunal anastomosis. The most obvious effect of the removal of the stomach is the loss of a storage space for the food while it is being digested. So, while the food is being digested, there is no proper storage space available. That is the most obvious effect of this operation. Since only a small amount of food can be allowed into the small intestine at a time, the patient will have to eat small amounts of food at regular intervals in order to prevent gastric dumping syndrome.